Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Friday, June 23rd, 2017. One of the headline stories is actor Johnny Depp has been added to the Secret Service's radar because of a joke he made yesterday, June 22nd, about when the last time an actor shot the president was. And for anyone who doesn't know, Abraham Lincoln, the first presidential assassination in the U.S. history books, Lincoln was shot by an actor in a theater. Now, I want to show you how this is all part of a script. This whole story about Johnny Depp making the joke, now him being the headline news about underwatch by the Secret Service, this is all part of a script. There is nothing organic about this story. Consider, the Secret Service was created the same day in history that Lincoln was shot, created by Lincoln. That was April 14th, 1865. Lincoln was shot April 14th, 1865. He died the next day. Now let me show you the full riddle here, why Johnny Depp made these remarks Friday, June 22nd, about when was the last time an actor shot the president. Check this out, truth seeker. First, let me just read this paragraph to you, then I'll prove this is all true. So I wrote this yesterday on my blog. When I wrote today, that was yesterday, the day the news broke that he made the joke, Thursday. So Thursday, June 22nd, was 21 weeks and 6 days since Trump took office. 216 is what's crucial here. Trump had his convention in Cleveland, the 216 area code. The first assassination attempt scare against Trump was last year on the campaign trail in Nevada on June 18th, 2016. The news of this assassination attempt didn't come out till June 21st, a date that can be written 21/6. Also from June 18th to Inauguration Day was 216 days. 216 again. Consider that Lincoln had an assassination attempt on his life February 23rd, 1861, and then he would die from being assassinated April 15th, 1865, exactly 216 weeks later. And consider further that Obama, from the land of Lincoln, the last president who Trump replaced, his birthday is August 4th, the 216th day of the year. So I'm just going to put the math up on the screen so that you can see this is true. We'll start with we'll just start right here since it's already up. You can look this up. Lincoln had an assassination attempt at the Willard Hotel just before becoming president, February 23rd, 1861. He would die April 15th, 1865, 216 weeks later, 216. Last year, June 18th, 2016, to Inauguration Day, 216 days later. This was the first assassination attempt scare. Remember, Trump had two in Nevada. The other one was November 5th, 2016, both in Nevada. But from the first to Inauguration Day, 216 days, they didn't break the news about this until June 21st, 21/6, have a video on this last year. We also talked about how this date last year was exactly a span of 144 days until Election Day, November 8th. Remember, whoever was going to be the president, Hillary or Trump, they were going to be number 45, but only the 44th person to be president. If you write out 44 as a word, it sums to 144. Consider also that Lincoln was shot April 14th, 14/4. But anyhow, this is how it works. This is what news by the numbers is. News by the numbers, contrived stories, presented as something other than contrived, which is what people need to know. If you've never seen the movie Team America World Police, Don't forget who runs the world in that movie. It's called FAG, F-A-G, for Film Actors Guild. We are ruled over by actors, more than just Hollywood. You know, Johnny Depp, he's part of the acting branch that's Hollywood. Donald Trump, Congress members, Supreme Court members, they're part of the actors club that's called the U.S. government. The world is a stage. It is controlled by the Zionists, banker tyrants, and every day they have their minions manufacture the news for us. So this is why Johnny Depp's now under the radar of the Secret Service. And, you know, if you want to verify anything I said, such as the Secret Service being created the day Lincoln was shot, I'm sure it's just a web search away. What day was the Secret Service created? It's funny, it says July 5th, 1865, but hold on, I know, there we go. I know, maybe July 5th is the date it officially went into action, but the Secret Service was created the day Lincoln was shot. You see that? He was shot in Ford's Theater. The assassination attempt prior was at the Willard Hotel. Just to remind you who's behind the code, Ford's Theater, Gematria of 58, Willard Hotel, where the first assassination attempt against Lincoln, also 58. Did you catch that they're both 139 as well? Do it like this so you can see. Ford's Theater, Willard Hotel. Look at that. They have perfect Gematria overlap. The first assassination attempt at the Willard Hotel, the assassination at Ford's Theater. These numbers are important to Freemasonry, especially the 58 and 139. So there it is, Truth Seeker. One more note. We just had the retirement of Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis, who just played Lincoln. We got two actors, very famous actors, Johnny Depp, Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis, one of his last films, playing Lincoln. These news stories coming in the same week. The day that Daniel Day-Lewis announced he was retiring, it was the 152nd day of Trump being in office at Pennsylvania Avenue, 1600 Pennsylvania. The 152nd day in Gematria, Pennsylvania, sums to 152. So real quick, let's revisit this story from Kathy Griffin, another actress getting in on the Trump assassination foreshadowing. At the end of May, she made big news for doing the photo shoot, holding the severed head of Donald Trump. What I pointed out then is Kathy Griffin's birthday, November 4th, to Donald Trump's birthday, June 14th, is 144 days, this fateful number. In Gematria, you're fired equals 144. Kathy Griffin was fired for mocking the president. And of course, the president was the apprentice who was known for saying, "You're fired." In Gematria, redhead also sums to 144. Of course, Kathy Griffin, a redhead. We just talked about how this number factors into the assassination of Lincoln, who was shot April 14th, Good Friday. Kathy Griffin was holding Trump's head. In Gematria, Trump's head equals 44, like the word kill, like the name Abraham, the first president to be assassinated in office, according to the history books. If you write out 44, it sums to 144. Just like if you write out April 4th, it sums to 144. Let's not forget that the first president to die in office was William Henry Harrison, who died 1 month into his term, supposedly from the flu, April 4th, 1841. 4-4, a lot like 44, the same day Martin Luther King Jr. was killed on. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassin would die in prison 30 years later on a date with 144 numerology. And let's also not forget about JFK, the last presidential assassination. He was the 44th term president. He died on the first day of Sagittarius, which has Gematria of 144. His brother Bobby Kennedy died at 1:44 in the morning, June 6th. It's murder by numbers. Robert Kennedy equals 66, dead on June 6th. His assassin was Sirhan Sirhan, Gematria of 66, dead June 6th. When I say murder by numbers, I should say it's murder hoax by numbers, because these people are selling us out. They are all actors. They're playing their part in the grand agenda. A big part of the master plan by the powers that shouldn't be in the 60s was to intimidate the populace into thinking you could not speak truth to power or you would be killed, a permanent mindset in the people from that generation, and also part of the mindset of people who've been born ever since. With regards to JFK assassination in Gematria sums to 187, the homicide code. It happened in the 187th year of the nation's existence. JFK assassination also equals 1122 in Gematria. He was shot on November 22nd. Just think about it. On the first day of Sagittarius, 44th term president. JFK was the only Catholic president. I want you to notice the word Catholic equals 35. He was the 35th president, 44th term. He died at age 46. The word Catholic also 46. Think about it. How perfect is it? It's because it was all a script. It was all an act. Anyone who's saying, well, I've seen the Zapruder film, understand the Zapruder film wasn't clear until the 90s, more than 30 years after he died. The Zapruder film is all part of the lie, the deception, the mind trickery, which this is what all about. And speaking of 35, since we began with Johnny Depp also has that Gematria of 135. Also 143, like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which has its headquarters in Washington, D.C., along with the federal government. Again, it's the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry running the show, owning the actors, treating them as minions. One last point, I want to talk about this story from last summer. Robert Deniro at a film festival came out and compared Donald Trump to his character from Taxi Driver. If you've never seen the film Taxi Driver, it's about a taxi driver in New York City during the time of a presidential assassination who realizes the world is going mad around him and he has fascinations of killing the president plus more. This story came August of 2016. You can go back and watch my work from February of 2016, where after the Kalamazoo Uber driver shooting hoax, I asked then, is this a tribute to the film Taxi Driver? Did a lot of work on this. You can go back and watch it all. Turned out it absolutely was a hoax and tribute to Taxi Driver, just as I theorized from the moment it began. And something interesting I want to show you about this film is that in the end, this is a scene from the film Taxi Driver, when his fantasies of killing finally become a reality. It's when he marches into this apartment building, 226. Notice the Johnny Depp stories from June 22nd, 22/6. But anyhow, he marches into this building and he goes on a killing spree, 226. And we'll close right here because it's not arbitrary that Johnny Depp made this joke on June 22nd about when was the last time an actor assassinated a president. And sadly, for most people, the joke's going to go right over their head. But anyhow, June 22nd, 2017, it was a date with 45 numerology, Trump's number 45. If you write out 226, it sums to 93. Interestingly, on this day in history, June 22nd, in 1993, Richard Nixon's wife died. Richard Nixon's wife died June 22nd, 1993. We've seen the parallels being drawn between Richard Nixon, whose presidency ended prematurely, and Trump. In Jewish Gematria, the word planet equals 226, and using the alphabetic order, the word Saturn equals 93, the most important of the planets. Remember, the magic square of Saturn sums to 45. So this is how all of these numbers come together. 226 for June 22nd, 93, and 45. Yesterday's date was perfect for this ritual. The November 5th assassination attempt in Nevada had everything to do with these numbers if you want to go back and watch my work on that. But just understand, it's all ritual, it's all in the numbers. Check this out. Richard Nixon, using reverse ordinal, sums to 187. In case you're new here, you need to know what's important about this number. George Washington, 187. Washington, D.C., 187. The headquarters of Scottish Rite Freemasonry is in D.C. It's called the Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. The full name, 187. D.C. was once the Catholic colony controlled by the Jesuit order. Catholic colonies 223, which is important too. That's actually not what I meant to write up here. I meant to write Society of Jesus, which equals 187. That's the official name of the Jesuit order. From Trump's birthday to the Pope's birthday, Pope Francis, who's the first publicly Jesuit Pope, the Society of Jesus, their birthdays are 187 days apart, June 14th to December 17th, 187. And let's not forget that Trump had his convention in Cleveland, the 216 area code, starting July 18th, 187 days before Inauguration Day. July 18th is also the date that Mein Kampf came out, published by Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, 187. This year on Hitler's birthday, in Paris, France, there was a hoax, a tribute to him. Paris, France, 187. The man who designed Washington, D.C. was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason from Paris, France. These are the numbers of the gang members. These are the numbers of Masonry. And where 187 comes from is the number of chapters in the Torah, which begins the Bible. There's 187 chapters in the Torah. The Torah is where the Kabbalah code comes from. Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism that God created the world with language when God merged the letter with the number. In this belief, the Torah is a numerical code where all of the meaning originally comes from in this numbers into letters sequence. And there's a whole lot more to this. The book's coming soon. That's what I'm finishing up right now, but I want to keep people updated on what's going on in the media because we could see some bigger Donald Trump news headlines sooner than we think. But at the same time, what I will remind people is these headlines foreshadowing the premature demise of Trump, they've been going on for more than a year. And the powers that shouldn't be, they work at a slow boil's pace. So how much longer will we get these mocking headlines before something actually happens? Also, here's something to think about. I just want to show you the day Richard Nixon resigned. Richard Nixon resignation date. If you've never seen my work on this, it had everything to do with Gerald Ford, who replaced him. It couldn't have been any more perfect. But notice the date he resigned. August 8th, 1974. Let's start with August 8th. 88, the name Trump, using the alphabetic order, 88. Just like the Republican Party, which Nixon was a part of, also 88. The name Richard Nixon also has Gematria of 74, just like the name George Washington, just like Masonic. Very special number, just like Jewish, the people running the show. He resigned on 8/8/74. Look how nicely that ties in with the word Jewish, the puppeteers of the ongoing fake news from the beginning of this country and the time of media. News has always been here. It's always been controlled by the Jewish bankers for the sake of steering the minds of the masses. There's been all of these parallels between Richard Nixon and Trump, the wiretapping, the lying, the cover-up, all of these things they're bringing at us. Remember, the word wiretap equals 43. The story began March 4th, 4/3. It was 43 years since Richard was impeached, 1974 to 2017. Do you understand? All of this is news by the numbers. Donald Trump is an actor stooge. No different than Johnny Depp. No different than Daniel Day-Lewis. No different than Kathy Griffin. No different than Robert Deniro. Go back and watch Team America World Police. Your world really is run by fag. And these Zionist Jews, they're absolutely obsessed with ass fucking. And all of this mockery of the people, having an orange Oompa Loompa as the president, all of it is truly fucking us in our metaphorical ass. We need to wake up, people. We need to wake up. Until next time.